Welcome back to the Upper Tier Podcast, the football podcast we bring you each and every week on the Dynamo Podcast Network. Head over to YouTube, smash that subscribe and bell notification button. Joining me tonight, the Champions League is back. Darren, how we doing, my man?
Doing all good, Niall. Doing all good, pal, yeah.
It's kind of weird, isn't it? Because we have a international break, which everyone just gets depressed about and all and gets down because we're only getting into the Premier League. But I suppose once that international break is done, then not only do we have the Premier League back, but we also have the Champions League back. So it's an absolute festival of football that we come back to, you know. So we said we jump on tonight and we take a look, do a preview on a couple of the top matches in there coming up on next Tuesday and Wednesday. So if you want to contact the show, of course, you can leave your comments down below in the video, or if you want to contact us on Twitter at @the_upper_tier, or you'll get us on Facebook or Instagram, the Upper Tier, or if you want to watch the videos, Dynamo Podcast Network. If you want audio versions of the show, Spotify, Podbean, iTunes, wherever you pick up audio for a show, you'll find us there.
I didn't do my hair like this so they could listen to me on Spotify, pal, yeah? Just throwing that out there.
Maybe one half of the good looking side of this might not be enough for them, you know.
Right.
Let's get into this. Let's start, of course. No bigger toy, really. Barcelona versus Boyer Munich.
Yeah, massive toy, man. Absolutely massive toy. Well, historically, it's a massive toy, but is it going to be, a massive toy this season? I'm not too sure. I think this could be very, very one-sided. I know Barca have started okay in La Liga. They've got 7 out of 9 points, I think, but I don't fancy them in Europe at all. I think it's going to be a struggle for them. I think it's a tough group, and I think Bayern will do this on during the week.
It's safe to say that the post-Messi era of Barcelona is slightly less appealing to people, let's say. I know
Absolutely.
they've brought in Memphis, they've brought in Aguero, of course, Eric Garcia from Man City as well, I think, and they also brought in the one and only Luke de Jong.
The one and only Luke de Jong.
Yeah.
Listen, I watched the interview obviously last night with Laporta, and it's interesting. He's talking about January maybe being back to a more normal sort of thing for Barcelona, but I think at the minute they'll be toughing it out till then.
Yeah.
I think they're really going to have to just get the head down and get everyone pulling in the one direction to be in with any sort of a chance if they were able to bring anyone in January and still be in the mix for trophies come the end of the season,
Yeah, by January their season could be over.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Very much so, yeah.
You look on the other side of this, Boyer Munich, who are always very strong anyway. We know what to expect from these big German sides. Brought in Upamecano and also brought in Sabitzer. So 2 fantastic signings as well to strengthen them,
2 great signings, 2 nice little positions as well. Like you're looking at Kingsley Coman and Gnabry on the wings, and you've got Sabitzer in behind Lewandowski, and then you've got Goretzka and Kimmich in the middle there. And Upamecano brings a little bit of solidity. I think Bayern could go close this year again,
Yeah, absolutely. They'll certainly walk the German league anyway, that's for sure.
They should, other than Haaland scoring 50, they should win it, they should.
100%. What's your pick for this one? You going with Bayern?
Yeah, going Bayern. Yeah. I think I can understand the way Koeman's trying to go with things. He's obviously trying to make them a lot more solid at the back and a lot more kind of dogged and resilient. But I just don't see them having enough goals in them to beat the likes of Bayern Munich, because I can't see them cutting Bayern out completely or keeping them at a blank. So then they're going to need to score a couple of goals, and that's where I think they'll struggle. So for me, it has to be Bayern.
Okay. I'm thinking the exact same as well anyway. I'd be surprised if Barcelona do anything this year, to be honest. Yeah. Up next, Young Boys versus Man United. Not much to talk about in terms of Young Boys. But in terms of Man United, I mean, the return of Ronaldo, Varane and Sancho and all, what more can we say, really,
Yeah, no, this should be very one-sided as well, This should be United getting 3 points, hopefully getting a clean sheet and scoring a couple of goals and putting themselves in a nice position after round 1, It's not something we've done in recent years. When we've been in the Champions League, that is, we struggled to pick up points maybe early on and left it till the last game of a group to try and get out of it. So for me, Solskjaer has got to make sure that this is nailed on 4 games in, we want to have 10 to 12 points and trying to make sure that we're through to that next round very early, you know.
Assume he doesn't mess around with the selection, of course, you know, and thinking like it's only young boys away or something like that and does something silly. But to me, if he picks the strongest 11, including Ronaldo, probably at this stage, that's going to be a lamb to the slaughter, really, isn't it?
Well, I mean, I think there's enough there for a little bit of rotation. Like if you look at what we've got now, you know, there is a little bit more depth in it. You've got Cavani, you've got Ronaldo for the centre forward slot. You've got maybe Pogba or Bruno that can play at 10. You've got the wings now looks a bit better with Greenwood and Sancho and stuff like that. I suppose the middle of the park is the only spot we're looking a little bit bare at the minute. I know Fred is out of action this weekend, and I think Matic is out as well. McTominay's coming back from an injury. So it's, you know, it'll be a strange midfield. I know, obviously, I'm a massive fan of the kid, Hannibal, but I don't know if it's a little bit too soon for him or not. It may be a thing, you know, that he decides to roll the dice with something like that and maybe get Donny some minutes as well against young boys or something. But yeah, I don't think there should be an issue there, regardless of what kind of team he puts out. Even if he makes rotation and makes a few changes, you still should beat them 1 or 2-0 handy enough, you know.
Yeah, and it's safe to say, I suppose, out of all the English teams, you got the easiest draw, really, the easiest group, really, didn't you?
Yeah, it's not overly difficult, but you know, they're still decent teams. Like Atalanta aren't a bad side, and Villarreal, you know, they managed to turn us over in that Europa League final. Yeah. But I certainly wouldn't have any fear going into a group like that. No. You know, and if at this stage we're not getting out of a group like that handily, then we're in trouble either way.
Yeah, then it's really time to get a new manager, really, at this stage.
Then it's time to put Ollie in the back seat instead of at the wheel, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. Chelsea versus Zenit. This will be very lopsided, I think, as well. You've got Lukaku in there, probably one of the strongest defences in the league, defending champions, and now Saul Niguez has come in. I mean, what do we say about this? Just like, you know, say your prayers and light the candles in it.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, it'll depend on what side he puts out. You know, I think in the early couple of weeks in the Champions League, there might be a little bit softly from some teams, because obviously you've had the international break as well. Players were travelling, and you know, it's only a couple of games into the season, so I'd say they're still looking to get lads minutes under their belt as well. But again, Chelsea will have too much for Zenit here. You know, this shouldn't be very close, let's say.
Yeah, Tuchel wouldn't be a man to tinker too much anyway. You know what I mean? He's very staunch in the way he goes about his business. You know, he'll want to, especially at home as well. He'll want to get off to a real good start. You know.
Yeah.
Man City versus RB Leipzig.
Yeah, Leipzig have started really poor this season. In the Bundesliga, you know, they haven't got off to a flyer at all. They've obviously Leipzig are a selling club to a degree, you know. A lot of their big stars will leave every other summer, and they're looking to replace them with guys, and they do quite a good job in the recruitment side of things, you know. Yeah. But being competitive then when you're selling your best players all the time can be very difficult. And I mean, City, you know, on any day can just steamroll teams. If City get a game against anyone, and I include all the English teams, you know, City click on a day, you could be in for a hiding, you know.
Yeah, I don't think you can lose the likes of Upamecano, Konate, and Sabitzer and like expect to still be competitive. You know what I mean? And even if you've done such a good job in the past, eventually that kind of policy does catch up with you, and eventually you bring in players, and it doesn't become what you think it's going to become. Plus, the change in manager there is absolutely massive.
Massive. You know, super job with Leipzig, Nagelsmann. You know, but now it's going to be very, very tough because you can't kind of replicate a manager like that. And I suppose they're bringing somebody in and they're hoping he's going to do something similar. But, you know, it's going to be very tough for them, I think. I think they might struggle this season as well in the Bundesliga, you know. I wouldn't be shocked at all to see that manager maybe not get through the full season and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah, I don't know. I suppose they'd have to accept the fact that they did sell off the crown jewels. So, you know, there has to be a certain acceptance of that. Although even Leipzig, they'd want to still remain competitive. But, I mean, you know, being competitive in the Bundesliga with some of those teams that are in there and then being competitive in the Champions League are two very different things.
Absolutely.
Bruges versus PSG.
Yeah. Again, it'll kind of depend on what team Pochettino puts out.
Or does it matter?
Well, it shouldn't matter. I mean, their second string should beat Bruges, handily. But I mean, you could really look at this and go, this could be an absolute steamroller.
Yeah, I'm looking at this. This is -3 or 4 and might beat the bookie.
Well, absolutely. But I think, and I don't usually have a bet until I see teams. So I'll probably stick with that for the minute, because I think there's so many squads now that are bigger, and there's guys needing minutes and stuff like that. And managers are always tinkering a little bit, and just 2 or 3 little changes. Again, bigger teams will win games, but they won't necessarily have that steamroll effect that the -3 or the 4 that you're looking for. You know what I mean?
But you're going in there. I mean, even a blind bag team that should pull out of a bag for PSG would slaughter Bruges, I think.
Should do. Should do.
The likes of Messi after going in there, Hakimi, Gini, Ramos, Donnarumma. They're the additions. They're the additions to this team. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not to mention
it's very, very strong. Again, I think they're up there. I think they'll be very difficult to beat this season. I've got themselves and Bayern probably in the semi-finals anyway.
Absolutely.
And then the rest of us are kind of fighting for 2 places maybe.
Yeah, I think Bruges will relish it though. They'll relish the spectacle of the TV and the stars and all and stuff like that, testing themselves. But I think it could be a long night for Bruges looking at it,
I think we'll end up seeing a lot of stuff on social media the day after where the boys just stood for pictures,
Yeah.
It could be that one of them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Someone's running to get a jersey swap as quick as possible.
Yeah.
Another game that normally would sort of it have us really excited about it, but again, there's been so many in and outs, it's hard to kind of go for a bit like the Barcelona situation. Inter Milan versus Real would normally be a huge tie.
Yeah, it really was a massive tie over the last few years. Real in a massive period of transition. Under Ancelotti, they've failed to bring a whole lot in this summer. And with what they have, I mean, they've struggled. Like Bale has gone in there, and he looks like he could be a big part of that squad again. And I mean, Bale last year at times struggled at Spurs. Now I know any footballer could struggle under Jose Mourinho, but or any attacking footballer, but he didn't light the place on fire the way we thought he might have at Spurs. So with Real relying on the likes of him and an aging Benzema, although he is playing some of the best football of his life, Real are going to find this tough, this campaign. Inter sold an awful lot, but in their defence, I know they had financial issues. They recruited okay,
Yeah, they brought in Dumfries and Dzeko.
Yeah, they brought in Dumfries to replace Hakimi, and then Dzeko to replace Lukaku, and they've still got a couple of, they've still got Martinez and stuff like that, and there's a couple of boys in the midfield. And, I don't think Inter will be worried about Madrid, let's say. I think Inter will be going into that thinking they can get something out of it.
Yeah, I think so as well. I look, you can't take out Varane, Ramos and Odegaard and expect to get away with it. You know what I mean? I know they brought in Camavinga and they brought in Alaba, but still, it's not exactly like for like, is it?
No, it's definitely not.
Let's round it out. Last one I'm looking at there, Liverpool versus Icy Milan. I'm heading over there on Wednesday, so I'm going to be covering some of the game from outside the ground and stuff like that. No, we'll be doing a few podcasts while we're over
live
there.
from Anfield Road.
That's it, absolutely. Plenty of history between these two clubs in this competition anyway, that's for sure.
Very much so.
I heard 2 weeks ago, Hearn and Crespo came out after the draw and said that AC always won. And I was there going, let it lie, mate. Come on, you got us back 2 years later. Stop this nonsense, you know what I mean? And then no doubt, in the build-up, no doubt Gattuso's going to come out with something. There's no doubt about it. Because he loves to have a pop and stuff like that as well. What you making on AC Milan? They brought in Tomori, but they lost Donnarumma and Callaghan.
Tomori's been a great signing for them. He really, really has. He's made stuff nice and solid at the back. Like, he's been very, very impressive for them. He's been so impressive, I would wonder why Chelsea allowed that to happen, I know you've obviously got the financial fair play and stuff, but Chelsea are looking at maybe looking at getting a centre half in, and they've let Tamori go, and you're kind of thinking, geez, I'm not sure if that was a great idea. I see they've lost Çalhanoğlu as well, and they brought in Giroud and stuff like that, and you've still got Kessié and that in the middle. I think AC Milan with Gattuso at the wheel are going to be okay, but I don't think they're going to be special. And I think, Liverpool's pace could really cause them trouble. We obviously had them last year in the Europa, and pace was what killed them. I think the pace of Serie A, and then coming into a Champions League game or Europa League game where the pace is about 20-25% quicker, they struggle. That's what it looked like to me, and that's what I imagine will happen on Wednesday night as well.
Yeah, tough night for them under the lights at Anfield as well, with a packed house. Champions League night, so it's not an easy place for any team to go to. Just ask Barcelona.
Just great to see the fans back at the Champions League. It's such a great competition. It's so special. But for me, and I go to games all the time, but Champions League games are just that little bit more special. On the dark nights when you can see our breath in front of you and that music starts playing, and the hairs in the back of your neck are standing up. It's I
always get excited when you see the people in the centre circle and they're waving the ball as well, the flag thing. It's absolutely class. It's pretty exciting, all right,
it really is.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to going over, because it was a last minute kind of thing. So I haven't had any lag time either, so it's pretty cool. Yeah, that's it really. Just had a quick look down, scan through them. So you're going with Bayern, you're going with United, obviously Chelsea, Man City, Liverpool.
Yeah.
Inter against Real.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then PSG to round it out against Bruges. So I think we have similar picks there. I don't see any difference there. Be a tough night to make a few, Bob, but good picks nonetheless.
It will with very short prices. I imagine the Inter are probably the only ones that are going to give you any sort of value, and that's the only one that can really trip you up as well. So if Real get any sort of result there, it throws your whole bet, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, it's been a pleasure having you on for this Champions League preview.
As always.
Certainly starting off with some interesting toys and some really mouth-watering matchups. Can't wait to see it. So as always, Dynamo Podcast Network on YouTube for the videos, Spotify, Podbean, iTunes for audio versions of the show, even though Darren is saying do not go near the audio version of the show. We got the hair going. You will not see the hair on the audio shows. I can guarantee you that. On Twitter at _upper_tier. And if you want to hit us up, Facebook or Instagram, the upper tier, or down below, drop your comments in there. Let us know what your picks are. Champions League football is back, baby, with a bang. Let's do this.